everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, unfortunately the sketch doesn't have any measurements, but just to let you know, the strip down the center, I've made it 2 inches, and the blue papers I made 2 by 3 inches. And then we'll mat accordingly. So we're going back to the Prima, I want to say it's Georgia Blues. And for our mat, or our pattern paper, I made it 4 by 5 1/4, and it's going on to 1/8 of an inch mat, which would make it 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And once again, using the glue, it gives me a little time to kind of play and wiggle it and make sure I get it to lay right. And then I'm using one of my pre-cut card bases that I got from, well, I used the Neenah Solar White. It's the 110 weight that I got Staples to cut in half for me. So it fits like almost right to the edge because they're just slightly off. But here I'm just showing you that I rounded the edges on the two, and I did them both at the same time. And then I did a mat that was 1/8 of an inch bigger. So if I did it 2 by 3, then the mat was actually 2 1/8 by 3. Just so that way I would have just 1/8 of an inch border around the top part that you're going to see, because the middle strip is going to actually cover the bottom. So there was no point in making sure that it had a border all around the edges. And then when I'm working here and filming, I do like to kind of hold it up sometimes because I want to make sure I'm putting everything down even. So sometimes you will see me lift it up as far as the card, just to make sure that it's laying correctly, because from the angle from where I sit, sometimes it looks like it's straight and then it's not. When I pick it up and look it over, I'm like, oh, I should have done that while I was making it. So on the strip, like I said, I made it 2 inches by 4 and 4 1/8, because I wanted it to line up with the mat. So I wanted to go end to end, across the middle. And then the mat piece, I made it the same length, so it was 4 1/8. But then for the top of the top and the bottom parts, I did make that 1/8 of an inch bigger. So if it was 2 inches by 4 1/8, then the mat was 2 1/8 by 4 1/8. So that way it would have just that border on the top and the bottom. And then I have I think these are Sizzix dies that create, the oval shapes. And these I've had since I first started scrapbooking, really, or making cards and doing stuff like that. And I always notice the different levels, they have a 1/4 of an inch border, which is something that I normally don't do because I prefer the 1/8 of an inch. So I think it may not be right away, but eventually I am going to have to try and get some of the more modern or the current dies, because I think there's a lot of them out there that have a lot more size options, so you can get the different widths for your mats. And now, once again, just taking some of the enamel dots that I pre-made, which I'm going to have to start making some more because I've used up, I think, all my blacks, and I'm running low on some of these gray ones. And some of them just weren't the greatest, when I was squeezing it out, it kind of spread funny, but I'm working with it because at this point, at least they're all 3 funny looking, so it'll match. They're a little bit flatter than I want it, but it's gonna work, and it'll finish out, the card sketch that we are doing today. So on this one, I used the oval center with the gray for our enamel dots. And then I did one off screen. This one I used a circle, and I used more of a pearl for the enamel dots. So with the centers, what I'm thinking is, you know, like I did on the previous ones using the Georgia Blues, I'm leaving it empty. Not that you would use this big of a sentiment, but you could put a sentiment, you know, stamp it on something else and put it right in the center. I have this little chipboard piece that says love that could go right in the center of the circle. It fits perfectly, and actually it kind of fits on the oval too. I'm just pulling out stuff. I have a bag of die cuts that I keep near me because sometimes when I go to cut out pieces, I'll cut extras while I have it out on my desk. So then that way, if I ever need another oval or a flag or a banner or something, then it's in the bag and I can just grab it out. So I keep them, you know, right there. And I was looking at that love and like, look, you could put a butterfly on it, turn it sideways. So there's a lot of different ways you can use a sketch with a flower even. I mean, you can do pretty much whatever. Or you can do a combination. I think I have like U that's been cut out of paper. I'm going to pull out, there's the U. And then you could use the chipboard piece or the wood veneer piece, and it says love you. So you can make it a Valentine's Day card, or you can just grab your stamps and stamp right on the center. So there's a lot of different options, and it leaves it open to where it can become a card when I need it, you know, down the line, because I really don't need a card at this moment, but I'm creating it with the idea that, you know, I'll be able to give it away to somebody. So thank you guys for joining me today. Here are the close-ups of each of the cards, and I like how you can always change up your sentiment. You know, if you don't like the ovals or you don't like the round, you can use a square. You can round the edges of a square so that it matches the other two elements that are on the front of the card, you know. So there's a lot of different options that you can do. Down below here, or here, I will have links to previous Friday sketches, and down below you can leave comments and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day.